A Leopard 2A4 tank belonging to the 155th Mechanized Brigade of the Armed Forces of Ukraine have fired on a multi-story building in the southern part of Pokrovsk in Donetsk region where Russian occupying troops were attempting to gather. Footage shared on Telegram channels shows the tank rapidly approaching the building and firing several shots in succession from a close range, causing significant damage and destruction. The tank then withdrew from the area. Pokrovsk has been one of key centers of hostilities in eastern Ukraine. Russia is aiming to capture Pokrovsk in hopes of paving the way to take full control of Donetsk region. Ukrainian military officials report that Moscow is seeking a breakthrough in the city, moving more units into the region to support the effort. Ukrainian troops continue striking Russia's energy facilities in an effort to undermine Moscow's war efforts. On the night leading to September 25, fighters of the 14th UAV Battalion of the Forces of Unmanned Systems launched series of strikes on gas distribution stations in Ukraine's eastern Luhansk region. As a result of the strike, the power plant of Shkastia gas distribution station, which is the main source of gas for the Russian-held region, was forced to switch to coal operation mode. Severodonetsk gas distribution center was also targeted by Ukrainian drone operators. The center is critically important for Russia's chemical industry, supplying gas to the Severodonetsk Azot plant and beyond. Ukraine's drone attacks on Russian facilities are not only confined to Ukraine's territory. Ukrainian also launches drone and missile attacks deep in Russian territory. Earlier, on Wednesday, Ukrainian troops struck 2 oil pumping stations in Russia's southern Volgograd region, as well as a drone production facility in the village of Veluki in Belgorod region bordering Ukraine. The attacks come amid Ukraine's counteroffensive against Russia's relentless attacks on eastern Donetsk region as well as the deadlock in the peace talks to end the war that is already in its 4th year. U.S. President Donald Trump received information about a new counteroffensive planned by the Ukrainian armed forces, which will require American support, according to the Wall Street Journal. The outlet recalled that on September 23, Trump highly praised the actions of the Ukrainian army on the front lines and dismissively commented on Russia's military efforts. This sharp shift in the U.S. president's stance came amid Russia's inability to achieve battlefield success. The Russian economy is slowing, and Russian forces are suffering heavy losses. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and his allies managed to gain Trump's support by coordinating their efforts. At the same time, American officials advocating a more decisive stance on supporting Ukraine briefed Trump on the real situation on the ground in Ukraine, emphasizing Russia's limited progress on the front lines. In addition, Trump was informed about a planned counteroffensive by the Ukrainian armed forces. It will require U.S. support, but only in the intelligence sphere. This is important because, according to U.S. officials, Trump has changed his rhetoric but not his policy. Trump allows arms sales to Ukraine, but he has restricted the use of American weapons for strikes on so-called sovereign territory of Russia, that is, regions that were part of the Russian Federation before February 2022. On September 23, President Trump spoke at the UN General Assembly in New York, suggesting that Ukraine could fully restore its territorial integrity, with Europe's support. According to the U.S. president, Russia has proven to be a paper tiger, as it has achieved no significant success on the front lines. Meanwhile, the Ukrainian army has turned out to be far stronger than previously thought. In response, Zelensky stated that the US president would support Ukraine to the end. However, some media outlets interpret Trump's remarks differently, suggesting that they indicate the US president may want to distance himself from the war in Ukraine.
Major grocery retailers have begun reducing their product selection in Russia. By mid-summer, the number of food products had decreased by 2.4%. As for non-food products, their availability has decreased by 2% compared to the same periods in 2024, according to Kommersant, citing an investigation by the Nielsen research firm. The largest declines were observed in the alcohol, children's products, and facial care products sector, with declines of 5.5%, 5.1%, and 7.4% respectively. Retail market representatives attributed this trend to a reduction in retail space due to high rent and changing consumer habits among Russians, forcing retailers to cater to demand and stock only the most popular items. Representatives of X5 Group, owner of the Pyaterochka and Perekrestok chains, reported that since the start of the special operation in Ukraine, the product range in their stores has decreased by a significant 15 to 20% on average. This summer, the company's divisions began switching to smaller retail pavilions, launching Perekrestok Select. Each store is approximately 400 square meters, 3 times smaller than the chain's standard supermarkets. Magnet has taken similar steps, opening ultra-convenient stores under the new brand Zaryad Ot Magnita, each measuring just 100 square meters. Lenta Supermarket has already confirmed its commitment to downsizing the optimization. Only the most popular products are being kept on the shelves, and the freed up space is being used for outside business projects and rentals. Furthermore, the chain's new hypermarkets are significantly smaller than those the company previously opened. According to preliminary estimates, in the first 7 months of this year, the average retailer's grocery store space shrank by 0.8% to 315 square meters. Supermarkets have now reached the point where they can draw conclusions about the success of previously launched brands, and with limited space for product placement, they are eliminating those that didn't survive the crisis. The food crisis, which is already becoming apparent, is causing anxiety and protests among the population. Recall, as major producers and exporters of agricultural commodities, Russia and Ukraine play critical roles in the global staple food supply. They export more than 45% of globally traded wheat, barley, and oats. A number of countries, including some with vulnerable food availability, heavily rely on imports from these two countries. For instance, the shares of wheat imported from Ukraine by Egypt and Lebanon are 85% and 81% of their total wheat imports. The war between Russia and Ukraine, which began on February the 24th, 2022, has raised serious concerns about Russia's crop production and global food shortages.